Hi, I'm Rob. Well, tonight I think we should talk a little bit about what's going to happen in the next few weeks, the next few months, about the coronavirus, because the situation seems to be somewhat stable, but it doesn't look like it's going to go away anytime soon. And even though that's what our governments wanted us to believe before. But I think governments now are realizing that this is going to stay with us for a long time. Um, I say it's going to stay with us for many years. And, some governments talk about a vaccine. Uh, Donald Trump promised a vaccine by the end of the year. But that's wishful thinking. There might or might not be a vaccine by the end of the year, or there might never be a vaccine at all. If you look at AIDS, it's been around since 1984, 83, 84, and people are still dying of AIDS. Of course, they have found ways to treat it, but the bottom line is that they haven't found a vaccine in uh, in nearly 40 years. So, I mean, as far as the coronavirus, there might be a vaccine or there might not be a vaccine. So, it's hope for the best, but prepare for the worst. So this is going to stay with us for years, and what we have seen so far, as sad as it is, that's just the beginning. In the United States, now they have something like 96,000 people dead right now. Uh, Maybe in about 2 or 3 days, they're going to be over 100,000 people dead. And, if you think about it, the United States lost 115,000 people in World War One. So I would say at the beginning of June, the coronavirus will probably have killed more Americans than World War One. So this is sad, but it's not gonna go away just like that. And if it lasts for years, you know, uh, the United States is probably gonna have more than a million dead at some point. Here in Canada, we're at 6,500, 6,500. This is gonna go up, maybe in a stable way, but it's still gonna go up every day. And I go outside and I notice that people, it's the beginning of summer here in Canada, and people seem to think that the epidemic is over, and but it's still there, and they're what they call a second wave. Actually, it's not really a second wave. It's the same first wave that's still here. And more people are gonna get the coronavirus because they're not really being careful, and yeah, but so there's gonna be more cases, in the next few days and next few weeks. They're gonna call it a second wave, but it's just more cases. Uh, because at first, a lot of people were just scared shitless, and they didn't want to go outside. And so all of these people staying home because they're scared to go outside, that kind of helps flatten the curve, as they say. But now people they're tired of being inside, and they're going outside, and there are going to be new infections because of that. And I noticed that almost nobody wears a mask outside, and I've said it like since January. people should wear masks when they go out in public. It would have been better had everybody worn a mask. Uh, if everybody had worn a mask before, maybe we would not have needed a lockdown. In many countries, there were no lockdowns, but like in South Korea, but everybody wore a mask, and that was much better than how we dealt with it here. So, but the real problem, I think, it's not really the coronavirus. The big problem that we have now is the financial depression, and this, I used to make videos about the coronavirus in January, and the media was not talking about it, and nobody cared about that here in Canada at that time, and in the US. That was not even on the news. That was just something that was happening in China. And I was telling people it's coming, and you have no idea what's going to happen. But people did not listen to me. And a couple months down the road, there it was. And now there's nearly 1,000 people dead in the US. But what I'm telling you, it's what's coming from now. What's coming is the financial depression, and people don't see that. Uh, People they're acting like they're on a vacation right now. Uh, but I mean, all the shopping malls are closed. If you think about the number of businesses that are going to go bankrupt, that are already bankrupt, that are not going to reopen, and the amount of people were losing their jobs right now. In Canada, I think we're talking about a 20% unemployment rate. In the US, it's like millions of people lost their jobs, and that's the same thing all around the world. In many countries, in the third world countries, now we're seeing like lineups, people lining up for miles, like thousands of people lining up for rice, for food, for just a bit of food. So there's gonna be like mass starvation in some countries. There's gonna be, of course, we are seeing riots right now in many countries. Uh, there's gonna be civil war. So there's a humanitarian crisis coming. But here in countries such as the U.S., Canada, in Europe, in Australia, it's the financial depression, and that people need to think about that, because the impact of the depression that's coming, it's gonna kill more people than the coronavirus, and it's much worse if you think about it. If financial depression, it's much worse than an epidemic. Uh, and if you think about all that is implied in a depression, um, so I need to warn people because it's gonna come slowly. We are not seeing the effects right now, but slowly, we're gonna see the effects, and it's gonna be really bad. And there's gonna be like suicides, and there's gonna be an increase in violence and crimes. You know, if you look in the U.S., there's already a lot of crime. Imagine with the depression on top of that, uh, there's gonna be a lot of violent crimes. So please, you need to prepare for that. Uh, I think we really need like to have a technological revolution here, just like there was in Japan after World War II. If you look at Japan, they lost everything in World War II, but they turned around on a dime, and they've done. There was a technological industrial revolution in that country like never before, and they became they became an industrial power very fast, and would work like 15 hours work days, uh, and they really turned the country around from nothing to become to be an industrial superpower. Well, we need a revolution like this here in countries that are affected by this depression, because if we don't, it's gonna get real bad, and we are not seeing what's going to happen. Um, so, if you want my advice, maybe if you lost your job, if you're a student, whatever, please try to get a skill. Try to find some skills because you'll need them in the future. And you can study. You can work on projects that don't really make money now, but that have the potential to make money in the future. But please be very serious about building something, building a business, developing skills, because you will need them very soon. Because it's gonna get really really bad. Uh, we're really talking about a full blown depression, just like in 1929. Uh, so you really need to prepare for that. And I would really advise, when you go outside, put on a mask like this. When you go to the store, put on a mask. Uh, the news is giving us the impression that this is over and we're gonna be out of this soon. But I swear we're not. It's not over, and we're not gonna be out of this soon. It's gonna be around for possibly for years. So you really need to protect yourself. And even if you're young and you don't have that many chances of dying if you get the coronavirus, think about the stigma. If you catch it, then you will have to isolate for possibly months. Uh, and you will be blacklisted if you go to a clinic and they tell you that you have the coronavirus. Don't kill yourself. They have your name, and you're gonna be blacklisted, and the cops are gonna know. They're gonna know your name. They're gonna know where you live, and they're gonna keep an eye on you. And the neighbors, your neighbors, are gonna watch you. And the moment you go outside, they're gonna call the cops on you. So you're gonna be treated like a leper. So really, it's really not good. You really gotta protect yourself so as not to get it, because of all the implications. If you get the coronavirus, then you will not be allowed to go outside. Uh, so it's because here I've noticed here and in many countries they've kind of criminalized the people who catch this. Here in Canada, there are snitching hotlines, and I'm confident that the people who have been tested positive, they have been blacklisted by the cops, and they are being followed. So you really need to protect yourself so as not to get this shit. Even if your life is not threatened, there are other consequences to that. So that's about it for now. But please keep in mind that we are heading into a really bad depression, and it's probably going to be a lot worse than the coronavirus. So be prepared for that. So if you like my videos, please subscribe to my channel, and I will see you soon.